Okay, you can set that down. So today I'm with Kat and Tony in the city of Guadalajara, Mexico. And they are from Denmark. And we have been meeting off and on this trip. And we all decided I kind of tagged along on their trip to come do a Spanish school for a week here in Guadalajara. And that's where we've been the past week, is learning Spanish. And we're all very fluent now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Por supuesto.
Yeah. Sí. So what I'm going to do, it's the first time I've done two at the same time. So as always, we like to find out where you guys, kind of the history, how you ended up here. All right. So Tony, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up here?
I was born in Denmark. I've lived there my whole life. After school, I joined the army, spent a couple of years there, did some different stuff, and then eventually started working in the rescue business. And for the last 15 years or so, I've been working as a paramedic. And all the while I've been doing other stuff, I've been riding my motorcycles. I bought my first motorcycle just before I turned 18, and been riding ever since. Mainly to travel. That is my main reason to have a motorcycle. Okay.
And then, of course, at some point, you married Kat, and Kat is going to tell us her brief history.
Yes. But now we're on camera. Please don't mind that my head is shaking. It doesn't mean that I disagree. It's just the head. Anyway, I was born in Denmark, and as a small child, me and my family moved to Sweden because my father got a job there and lived there for 7 years. So I came back to Denmark with my family when I was 10. And the two of us met in Copenhagen. We are both from the other end of the country, but we met there and have been together for 26 years. I used to be a landscape gardener, last summer we got married.
Recently?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. But together
26 years.
26 years,
yeah.
Married only recently. Dude,
Yeah.
What the hell?
You shouldn't rush stuff like that. You were getting married and divorced all the time. I'm not.
That
I'm
is
not that kind
that
of
is
guy.
vetting. That is some serious vetting of a relationship. Well
True.
done.
But we moved in together after 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So rushing in and then holding back.
Okay, good.
But
So now, of course, you are a couple, and you are now traveling the Americas by motorcycle. Let's talk about your trip, what you're doing on your 300 rallies, Honda 300 rallies, which I'm showing a photo of right now. There it is. You can see their setups on the screen. Tell us, what I'm always interested in, and I believe others who see this, is why. All right, here you are, a couple from Denmark who've probably got a nice home and friends, and as we all do, and family and careers and whatnot. Why pack it up and get on dirty, dusty motorcycles to foreign countries you've never been? Just why?
Should I tell it?
yeah, go ahead.
And two of you.
The short version. The short version is not that short, but the short version is that 10 years ago, Katrine had a birthday, and she looked at me and said, there must be more to life than this. And we were actually having a good life, a nice place to live, good friends, nice family, everything was good. So at the beginning I was a little bit pissed that she didn't seem satisfied, but then after a while I asked her, what more do you imagine? And then we started talking about that, and she just thought there must be more adventure to life than this. So it was not because she was dissatisfied. She would just...
So you planted the seed, Kat.
Yeah.
You're the one who started the little spark that we all had at one point. Yeah.
Then over a period of 4 years, we talked back and forth, considering different options, moving abroad, new job, changing stuff, and none of it was the right stuff. So eventually we came up with this idea that we wanted to travel open-ended.
It was not adventurous enough, I guess.
it wasn't
The
adventurous.
things we talked about.
Okay, the other options.
The
to
other
travel
options was not adventurous
did not
enough.
fit the adventure.
No. So
benchmark.
so eventually we agreed, and we agreed. It was both of us. We agreed that we needed to travel open-ended, and then we spent a couple of years deciding how and where to travel. It was not a given that we were going to travel on motorcycles. I was a very dedicated motorcyclist. Katrine has been riding for 25 years as well.
Oh, okay. You have
but
a
it
background
wa-
on bikes, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't a given that it had to be bikes we traveled on, but eventually it turned out it had to be. I couldn't imagine doing something for an extended period of time that didn't involve
Well,
motorcycles.
you use the word adventure, which is obviously overused somewhat, but you get high factor in that with a motorcycle.
Yes.
If that's a priority, motorcycle.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that started. That was about 4 years ago.
The whole process was 10 years ago. Then we talked about it for 4 years, and then we finally settled that we wanted to travel on motorcycles. And then, after 4 years, we knew that we were going to travel for a longer period of time, open-ended. And then we spent another couple of years, 3 years to be exact, to figure out how to travel and where to start. And then when we had agreed on motorcycles that we wanted to start in the Americas, we spent 3 years doing the final preparation, saving up the money needed and selling everything we owned. And during that time, we also decided that we didn't want to ask leave from our jobs. We wanted to quit. We didn't want to rent our house. We wanted to sell it. So we cut all ties, all physical ties to Denmark. So we could potentially settle down anywhere when we're done traveling.
Right, you have no job that's waiting for you to come back, no dog waiting for you. Right, you have all ties have been cut.
Yeah.
So
And we have sold everything we own. We have a little bit in storage, but it's just a couple of boxes with books and pictures, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
To me, it was very much about adventures and exploring, but also very much about that lovely freedom. And that lovely freedom wouldn't be there if we still had a house and obligations and a job waiting for us.
And a schedule.
And a schedule back home.
Right.
So in the end, it turned out to be very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will agree that I saw a 10-year funneling of planning essentially from the start of the idea down to execution. And to make a trip like what you're doing with no obligations back home and no schedule, there's some things you have to wrap up. It's not just grab your jacket and go at that point. But it is a beautiful way to travel.
It is.
If not one of the better ways, I would
I have never felt so free in my entire life. Even not as a child, because as a child, someone else is always telling you what to do.
Sure.
But now, all doors seems open and the world is there to be explored. And I'm with the one who I love to share it with, and yeah.
Fantastic. And is the plan, I mean, I know there's no plan, so it's hard for me to ask you this, but I assume there are some visions, you know, even myself as I'm traveling, I'm stair-stepping my way towards something. So we're in Guadalajara, Mexico. What comes next?
We'll stay in Mexico for a while, and then eventually, before the rainy season, we'll travel to Central America, I imagine, and jump from Panama to Colombia, and continue south in South America. That is the obvious things to do. Now we are here, we have the bikes, and yeah, that will be the...
Okay. And I know that when we talked about it too, and I know we're looking way in the future now and it gets fuzzy, but there's a possibility of going to the left, as I called it, to New Zealand, Australia, which I thought was interesting because, you know, you always hear of people going right to the Africa or Europe. So there's a thought process of maybe going that way and possibly even traveling in a different mode or different bikes.
Yeah. When I see how much 7 months of travel have affected us, I wouldn't even start guessing what we want to do in a year's time. We might be done traveling for a while, or we might be done traveling on a bike, or we are not done at all. We are just getting started. I don't know.
We don't. In the beginning, on our planning, we never said we will travel around the world.
No.
Because then you promise something and you build up some expectations that you might not want to do after all. Yeah. So what we said was, we're going out on an open-ended journey and explore as long as it is fun. And we still feel that way. But after all those dreams and hopes and preparations, I really want to give it at least 1 year. And I don't think I'll find any problems by giving it a year, because I think I would love to continue.
Yeah.
I agree. You can do anything in a year, as far as I'm concerned. That's a blip in the scheme of things. At the end of your life, that year will be significant.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Time, when you travel like this, time is a very strange thing. 7 months, we've been on the road almost 7 months now, and the time has just flown past.
I was going to ask, is it slower or faster?
The time has flown past, but at the same time, it's almost difficult to remember how it was to live in Denmark 7 months ago, having a house and a job and living a more ordinary life. It's like it was in another lifetime. The amount of experience and impressions and people and things we've experienced in the last 7 months has just, in that regard, slowed time down immensely. It's like we've been traveling for much, much longer than 7 months.
Interesting.
Yeah, so.
And do you think that is it safe to say you can't do this indefinitely?
Yes.
Is that a safe statement?
Yeah.
All right, I agree with myself. That is a true statement.
Yeah, it is.
So where is there a possibility that maybe in your travels you might find another home?
Yes.
Yes.
You're open to that.
I really liked to live in Sweden for all these years. I thought it was exciting to live in another country. And even though Sweden and Denmark are neighbors, the cultures, when you are a Swede or a Dane, are actually very different. So I think it could be fun to settle down in another lovely country and be part of that culture and society and language. But in our little family, it is Tonny who makes the decisions. So where he wants to settle down, I will follow him.
Okay. And that is, but you're open to anywhere at this point? Any
I am, but I'm very practical with our education, and coming from Denmark, it would be easier to get a very comfortable life at the end of this trip in Denmark than most other places, but I'm still open if the opportunity arises to settle down somewhere else.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
All right. Well, I think that's a good end to this discussion. That the unknown is I find that the unknown is awesome in some way. I find it exciting and thrilling. Yes. Because there is no plan and there is no schedule or agenda. And you guys are living that big time. So anyways, thanks for chatting today. And I'm going to, in case you guys haven't figured out, all of us are heading south. So I'm guessing we're going to talk again.
Yeah, we'll probably meet each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a week, so we need some time apart, is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Maybe a little last word. Yes. We met a man during our journey. His name is Mess, and he has become a friend.
Sorry, give us the name again?
Mess.
Mess.
At one point, he looked at us and he said, "You are not proper adventure riders. You are too clean. You're too happy. You are enjoying life too much. Because adventure riding has to be rough, and you have to struggle, and you have to have hard days and hard times." And then we laughed, and Tonny said to him, "No, we're not adventure riders. We're just travelers who enjoy life." And that's how it is.
I think that's a good observation. I've seen that myself with other YouTube channels, let's call it, where every day they're like trying to be kidnapped, it seems, and it's somehow necessary in motorcycle travel. It is not.
Oh.
We're just, and you guys are, like I said, your speed is perfect. I think it's optimum, and there's a few other people I watch that have the perfect speed. So I'm envious, and I'm going to try to emulate it. But where was this gentleman?
He is an English guy, but we met him both in the US and in Canada.
Got it. Well, the English are very wise. Everyone knows
Yes,
that.
they are.
Plug for my mom.
And very charming.
Right. Well, we'll leave it with that, and I want to thank you guys again for your time.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
You got it.